Well, hello everyone. So today I have a few topics that I just wanted to talk about. I don't think any of them were enough to make a whole video about because some have been talked about, some haven't. We're just gonna have a little fun. Some of it will be deeper than others. Let's just see how it goes. All right, before I get into it, let me give my disclaimer. I do cuss in my videos, so if you have any little ones around, please go watch something else and come back. I'd love to have you here, but I am not kid friendly, and this is certainly not a kid friendly video. Okay, that out of the way. Let's start with Gabby Hanna because Gabby Hanna is so famous and her name gets so many people, so many clicks. I just figured I'd try it out, right? That was sarcasm. Gabby recently has moved a lot of her content to TikTok, and I'm not a fan, as most of you probably already know. I don't like Gabby Hanna all that much. But I did see a video talking about this, and so I went and checked it out, and it was as bad as that video made it seem. Gabby went on a TikTok talking about how famous she is, and she didn't realize she was a celebrity, but she is, and now she knows that, and I'm just, uh, is she famous? Yeah, kind of. Is she, really famous? Not really, and, also, to me, it kind of matters what you're famous for, and I don't think I'd want the fame that Gabby Hanna has. That's all I'm gonna say. I know she would not believe that, but that's not what I'm here to talk about with Gabby. Gabby made a few TikToks, but they kind of spun off from the first one, where Gabby decides to give life advice to all of us depressed people. Now, if you don't know, I think I've mentioned it, but if not, here we go. I struggle from depression, really bad depression. I actually take medication for it. There's no shame in my game. If you take meds, hey, how you doing? I feel you. But a lot of us do. A lot of people deal with depression. So this is already one of those subjects that I feel like should be handled with care. But Gabby doesn't. Gabby has claimed for many years that she has anxiety and depression and she understands, but she's so insensitive in this TikTok and so tone deaf and privileged and an asshole. She's just an asshole. That's the best way I can put it. So this whole TikTok is her talking about finding a hobby. If you are depressed, you just need to find a hobby. Which, just saying that doesn't sound so bad, but if you haven't seen the TikTok, please go watch it. Trying to remember who, T-Spill's video. I'll link it below. That was the one that I saw it in that made me go and check out the TikTok. But basically, Gabby's just like, I saw a TikTok of someone making a rug, and I haven't made a rug yet, so I want to do that. And, if you're depressed and you want to, ride a jet ski, just go ride jet skis. And if you want to jump out of an airplane, I wouldn't do that, but you should. It was just a whole lot of examples of things that the normal, average working person like myself can't just go do. I'm sure my life would be a lot happier and less depressed if, let's just say, I had all the money to just get up and be like, today I just want to jump out of a fucking airplane and I'm just going to do it. Hell yeah. Fuck yes, let's do this. Or if I wanted to go spend a few days in Hawaii and chill on a beach naked, and I could just do that, I'm sure I would be a lot less depressed. But the reality of my life is I work every day. I have a daughter I have to raise, and I don't have a lot of time or money. Yeah. So obviously the comments were kind of reflective of what I just said. They were like, hey, Gabby, it'd be great if we could just all cure our depression with doing whatever the fuck we wanted, and if we had the time and money to do so, but reality is I don't have a lot of money, and I work, and I don't have a lot of time. And Gabby's response to this is what made it something worth talking about, in my opinion, and many others. Gabby starts commenting back to people in a very shitty, asshole-like, condescending way. Basically telling all of these people that they're just making excuses. If you have time to scroll through TikTok, then you have time to find a hobby. You don't have to have money. You could get cheap art supplies and start sketching and painting. You just need dollar paint to do that. Oh, Gabby. Gabby, you missed the fucking point. You missed the point altogether. First of all, and I love that this was pointed out in T-Spill's video, most people who suffer from depression normally fall away from their hobbies and things they love doing. It's a part of being depressed, you dumbass. I'm sorry, I hate to be that person. I hate to even sound that way, but to Gabby, you're a dumbass. Most people have things that they love doing, but when depression sets in, you lose all hope and motivation, and depression hits everyone differently. I'll speak on my personal experience. I'm a fun and happy-go-lucky person. I like doing things. I like beauty stuff and makeup. I like cleaning my car. I like organizing. I enjoy things like that. But when depression hits, you know where I spend all my time? Right here in this bed. Feeling like I can't even get up and clean up. It is hard. And so to tell people so arrogantly and so, just the way she was, oh, if you just find a hobby, you'll feel better. To also say, well, it doesn't have to take money. First of all, a lot of the examples in her video do require money. I don't think anyone gets free skydiving lessons and gets to go for free or can just jump on any old jet ski. I mean, you can, but you might go to jail. So that whole thing of like, it can be cheap. It doesn't matter, Gabby. It's not that easy. And time, saying, well, if you have time to scroll through TikTok, you can pick up an instrument and learn that instead. Instruments cost money. Lessons cost money. Yeah, you could probably do it yourself online, but who has the time? Like, scrolling through TikTok is something you do on your lunch break or in the line picking your kid up from school. I can't see myself on my lunch break learning the guitar or playing the trumpet. So fucking stupid, Gabby. I couldn't believe that this was really, and she went back to TikTok and made like 2 other TikToks defending herself, and the last one was really aggressive. It was basically just saying that people were just making excuses, and if you were going to make excuses, you could continue to live your miserable life. That's what depressed people need to hear, not someone who goes through depression standing up and uplifting people with the same mental problems or issues. No, we have Gabby Hanna who claims she goes through depression, and she's just going to shame you for it and tell you to keep living your miserable life because she chose to get out of that corporate office whatever life and move to this extravagant online presence that she has now. And the truth is, the bitch got lucky. Just like many people, and I'm not saying she's not talented or she doesn't have things that make her worth watching. I personally enjoy some of Gabby's music. I used to watch some of her videos. But there are millions of talented ass people who post online every day and are never successful. And the fact is, some people get noticed and get a following and some people don't. And I don't think you could get that through to Gabby if you tried. So I felt like that was worth talking about, just to get your opinions in the comment section. See if you share my frustrations. How do you feel about all of that? Did you see it? Let me know. Moving on. This one is not as easy to talk about and not as lighthearted. This is actually much more controversial and serious topic. But I wanted to touch on it, although many people have covered it, and that's why I'm not making a dedicated video to this. There are many people who have covered it and done a very great job at this point. but I definitely wanted to talk about it for a minute. The LeBrant family. If you don't know who the LeBrant family is, they are a family vlogging YouTube channel. Now, I have my opinions on family vloggers. I don't think they're all bad. I just have opinions, as do many other people. But the LeBrant family would be one of my highest examples of why family vlogging can be dangerous and wrong. First of all, just a few things that they've done in the past. So you have the video of them pranking their daughter by telling their daughter that she's got to get rid of her dog. She begins to cry. They continue. That was just really shitty and shitty parenting. But the fact that they did that for the views is just sad. It's sick, sad, pissed me off, is what it is. Then, when California had all those wildfires and people were losing their homes and their businesses, the LeBrants decided to make a video about evacuating their home and how scary and terrifying it was, only to later find out that they didn't actually have to evacuate their home. Their home was actually completely safe the entire time. And even their neighbors tried to tell them hey, we know better. We know this is bullshit. Could you take the money you made from that video and donate it to people who actually lost their home and business? And you know what the LeBrant family did? That good old LeBrant family that puts on the smiles and the act. They blocked those people. They were like, nah, get out of here. Shut up. Great people. And then if that doesn't show you what type of people these people are, then they made a documentary which they clickbaited their daughter possibly having cancer. And in the video, their daughter was just puking a lot, and they're like, what if she has cancer? Let's talk about these people who do have children with cancer. Let's talk to these children who actually have cancer and exploit them for our YouTube channel for views. And did they actually help children with cancer? No. No, they didn't. That documentary was a bunch of bullshit, and it was just a huge way to clickbait their audience, which is really sick and twisted and sad. It's sad for the audience that was worried about this child. It's sad for when the child grows up and sees that their parents did this. And it was sad for the actual cancer patients who were used for views. So to bring us to what they have done now, and I'm not going to talk about this too much. I think overall we can all just kind of give our thoughts and opinions and move on. But like I said, this has been covered by many other people. I'll probably link some of their channels and their videos below, going in depth of why this is so messed up and dangerous. But the LeBrant family decided to make a video documentary about abortion. Now, that is such a controversial topic. And I'm not here to tell you whether you should or shouldn't stand against having abortions. My problem is that it came from this family in particular, and the way that they went about it was so shady and shitty. So the video documentary opens up with them comparing numbers of abortion versus numbers of deaths in the Holocaust. If you can't see a problem with that, I don't even know what to tell you. You cannot compare those numbers. And also, I'd like to add that I feel like the numbers were very misleading as well, because they added up the number of abortion over years and years and years. I don't know. The other issue I had, other than the fact that flat out it was this family of all people trying to give this message. They're a very Christian family, so it was presented as we're not trying to legalize it or make it illegal. We're not trying to ban it. We're just trying to give you the information and the options that you need to not do it. And there's nothing wrong with having a stance. If you feel like it's wrong, I'm not against you. Just like if you feel like people should have a choice, I'm not against you. What I'm against is putting out this information and saying you're doing it to educate people and then only really giving one side. That is not the way to educate people. You should give them both sides, both ways of viewing it and the facts of it all. And so putting up these numbers next to these other numbers that should not ever be compared, and then giving so much of your story and your opinion, and then at one point they basically have an advertisement in the middle of it where it's just this woman who kept her baby and now has a business, and they promote her business and they're like, we gave her some money, yay. And then saying that they're going to give the money from the ads on the video to a pregnancy center, but not, I don't know. I get really emotional and pissed off talking about this. Basically, the way they went about it was so one-sided. There were parts of it that really, in my opinion, shamed people for not keeping their children or not having the baby. And their solution to give you like an alternative, like the documentary is like, oh, we're trying to educate you on ways that you can keep your baby and you can be a success story like this woman that we showed here. But their solutions aren't there. They're like, oh, there's pregnancy centers. Okay, well, what does that do? What help does that really give? Saying that, oh, well, you'll feel better, like you might not know it now, but once you have the baby, you'll be so happy that you didn't have an abortion. But not telling you, not giving any information on how, or resources, or giving money to women in need of this. They were just like, oh, you'll feel better. Not saying like, okay, here's how you fix your financial situation. Like if you're considering abortion because of a financial problem, here's how you fix that. If you are in an abusive relationship, or your family doesn't support you and you're all on your own, here's how you can go about it. They were basically like, pregnancy centers are good, and we gave some money to a pregnancy center and to this woman who didn't abort her baby, and she's great, she's thriving. You'll feel better. That was it. I just, maybe I shouldn't have talked about this topic. I feel like I can't talk about it without getting hella pissed right now. You know what? I probably shouldn't have put this part in. My point, my feelings, is just that it was so one-sided. It didn't offer many solutions to the actual problems that people facing that decision face. And it also belittled the fact that it's a decision. The fact that there are that's what it is. They delegitimized the issues that could cause someone to have that thought. And they made it feel as though anyone who had that thought just had it for selfish, evil reasons. And that there's no way that you could have real issues. And at one point, I don't even remember his name. The guy from the little Brandt family even said if his daughter was raped, that he would take the baby and raise it himself if she couldn't do it. And it's so sick to me to discount everything that real life people go through and what someone who would be in that situation would be feeling and going through, and they might not have the same support system and the things that could do to you mentally. Like, they didn't talk about any of that. He was just like, yeah, if it happened to my own daughter, I would raise that baby. It was so dismissive of the reality of what could take someone to that decision. And instead of really helping people in that situation They just praised people who made the other decision, and that to me was gross. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I thought I could handle it better. I thought I could talk about it more in depth, but I just can't. It was very disgusting, and overall, it just made them. It gave them a bunch of views, and it made them a bunch of money, and in the end, that's all they care about. They don't care about the people who are actually in these situations. I don't think they care about either side of it, to be honest. They might have their beliefs, but I don't think they really care for the people that are going through it. And I'd like to say on a lighter note, we're going to move to another topic, but I don't know if this is any lighter because this one pissed me off as well, but it's definitely not, I guess, as heavy for me. Ethan Klein from H3 did a thing, and it seems like he's been doing a lot of things lately because he's been apologizing a lot lately. Or not apologizing in this case. Because Ethan Klein was doing a live stream. This was several days ago, and he was talking about, I can't believe I'm even saying this in a video. He was talking about James Charles' recently purchased list on Amazon that was accidentally showed in a James Charles video where he had Depends diapers in his recently purchased or buy again list. And he took that and ran with it. He was like, he gets the Brazilian butt lifts and maybe that's what it's for. And then goes as far as to say maybe it's because he's having a lot of... I didn't even want to say that one out loud. I know I just said a lot of deep things out loud, but I can't bring myself. I whispered it to you. I'm sorry. But he goes so far that he has a caller that calls in and is trying to explain to him how wrong it is, because the conversation wasn't just that. Ethan was going so far into it that he was talking about whether James was a top or a bottom and what a power bottom meant and all these things. So this caller, God bless his soul, calls in to try to correct Ethan and try to explain why this is wildly inappropriate and wrong, and what he was saying was uneducated. And Ethan argues back with him, makes fun of him, cuts him off. The other person, I can't remember who it was on Ethan's channel, but he ended up getting a lot of hate and backlash, and I feel like it was well deserved. But he basically mocked the guy and told him to go fuck himself or get the fuck out of there or something like that. But he did the stereotypical gay voice because the guy had a lisp, but even without that part, the caller had a lisp, but even without that part, it was a very stereotypical gay, way to talk. I can't even do it. I can't even do it because I don't do it. But you know what I mean. Like, you've heard it in, like, elementary school, middle school, unfortunately high school as well. But when a straight man tries to emulate a gay man's voice, they do it with, like, a lisp and a very sassy, He did that to the man who called in. And it's so sad to me because this was someone who was a viewer. And if you've watched my channel for any amount of time, you know how I feel about viewers being treated like shit, so I'm not even going to go there, but it makes me sick, and it makes me... Oh, side note, I know my brain is always scattered. Let me go back and make a point to Gabby Hanna real quick. I know that was at the very beginning of the video, but she was talking shit about people scrolling through TikTok and like, you need to get off TikTok and find a hobby and do something with your life. Bitch, the people scrolling through TikTok are watching your videos, and that's why you're famous, so fuck off. Now back to Ethan. It was sad to see someone who called in, who was only trying to have a conversation, be treated like shit. But what was terrible was the overall homophobic vibe of it all. And this is not the first time that we've seen or heard this from Ethan. And so when he came back to apologize, he didn't apologize at all. The guy that's on the podcast with him claimed that he didn't know what the fuck anybody was talking about. He was not doing a gay voice. That's bullshit. And Ethan backed him up, even though it was clearly there. It's there in the podcast. And Dustin Daly even played a clip of it. I'll try to remember to link that video as well, where he talks about this, because excuse me, because I actually watched him react to this in the first video he made, and one of the things that upset Dustin was the fake gay guy, stereotypical gay guy voice. And so to come back on and be like, no, he didn't do that, is absolute bullshit. And Ethan's whole apology / argument and standing up for himself is that he is in no way a homophobe, and he is so sick of being accused of this, and he's so sick and tired of people coming after him, and it's just bullshit. And how can he be homophobic when he has when he has gay people that watch and support him? Which is like, that's really going to be your argument? Like, I have a gay guy that watches me, so therefore I am not homophobic. Even though I said all that homophobic shit just then. I'm sorry. I used to really, 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 really like Ethan Klein. I like the H3 podcast. There have been so many times where I felt like he was in the right and I took his side. But just recently, there's been a lot. And the James Charles diaper debacle is only a piece of that. But there's been a lot where I'm like, I don't like your attitude, the way he gets people to call into his show and then talks over them and cuts them off and talks shit and just, your argument's bullshit, your argument's bullshit. It reminds me kind of the Dad Challenge podcast and other people I've criticized in the past. But to go as far as he did with the James Charles thing, the speculation on whether he's a top or a bottom is just disgusting. Like, can you imagine? Just imagine someone called into his show and asked him, hey, does your wife ever fuck you in the ass? Because that's how graphic he was. He was literally talking about James Charles getting pounded in the ass. Like, that is disgusting and inappropriate, whether it's a straight relationship or a gay relationship. That should never happen. Never. And I don't see why anyone would think that that was okay just because it was a gay relationship. Like, anyone has a right to speculate about who's the man or the woman or top or bottom. That's disgusting. And it is very homophobic. And then to treat the caller like shit. And then for that, whoever it was on the H3 podcast to mock him in a very obvious stereotypical gay voice. And then for them to come on and talk shit and deny it and basically be like, I apologize, but not really, because I'm sick and tired of people calling me out. Like, that's not an apology. You're a disgusting human being. And I hope he loses subscribers for this shit. I really, really do. So yeah, that was a whole lot of like, but I wanted to get it all out in one video. If you have any thoughts or comments about any of these topics, please leave a comment below. I would love to hear all your thoughts and opinions on all of these topics, and that way we can talk back and forth in the comments. So that was that for today. I hope to see you with a much more lighthearted video next time. Maybe, who knows, maybe Katie Joy or Dad Challenge Podcast will grace us with their presence and their usual bullshit, and we can just talk about that. I don't know. I hope you all have a great day, great night. Love you all, and see you in the next one.